Hello and welcome to the podcast. It's Rich Harshaw from Level 10 Contractor. Again, it's a daily podcast, so you probably already knew that, and you're probably tired of hearing about me. That's okay. I've got somebody new for you to talk to today. I've got Brandon Vaughn. He is the founder and CEO of HireBus and also founder of something called Wise Coatings. We'll get into that. Brandon, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Rich. Happy to be here, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, you've got an interesting story. We bring partners on from time to time on the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast. Tell us about your thing. Tell us about your thing. And I want you to tell us about your thing, but you've got probably on the more interesting end of backgrounds. First of all, HireBus didn't just, it started because you have a need in your business. But before we get to that, I want to hear about your business. Tell us about Wise Coatings and what that's all about.
I started Wise Coatings as actually an experiment as a YouTube channel called Map to a Million. At the time, I owned a company called Conquer that was a coaching organization for the trades. We had about 20,000 clients that were enrolled in that program. And in essence, I decided to start a YouTube channel that documented growing a brand new home service business from zero, with the challenge of never doing any work in the field from day one, never answering any phone calls, and never doing any sales calls from day one. It literally just building the business with people and systems. And we went from zero to 100K a month by month four, and then hit seven figures our first year. And now we're doing about 2 million a month across 37 locations nationwide. I have a CEO that runs that and have spent about 5 hours a week in the business. Not because I'm a super genius, but mostly because I know that with my ADHD, my biggest weakness I have is like finishing things. And so I have to find really, really awesome people to come in and do that. And that's my philosophy, is that you can build any team you want if you can be good at bringing in great people and setting them up for success.
Okay, so there's a connection. Company, Wise Marketing, you need to hire people. You're not going to be in the field. You're not going to be on the phone. You're going to
Yeah.
essentially have other people run everything from day one. And how long are we into this business now?
Wise Coatings, I started in January of 2021. So just about four years and change.
Okay, so 4 years. And in that time, I don't want to say you did none of the work, but uh, you've masterminded the thing, but you've got people in doing quote unquote the work. And so HireBus is, I'm assuming, a solution to, hey, I probably need to find good people. How do I do that? And then I'm just gonna guess, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. You took your ADHD brain, you focused it, hyper focused on how to do this using technology, and you came
Yeah.
up with something, and then you thought, well, hey, probably other people want this.
Yeah, it started back when I had a cleaning business. It was one of my first companies, exterior cleaning, and had about 70 employees. And we did pressure washing, window cleaning. And one of the things that we got really good at was always be hiring. The recruiting funnel was open 365 days a year. So we never stopped. We always had our ads up. We were always bringing people in. And the dynamic kind of changed in our business where, number one, our employees that were working for us realized, okay, there are people that are coming in on a regular basis. This isn't like I gotta work hard to kind of keep my job. I want to make sure that I'm doing a good, this isn't just, oh, they're lucky to have me. So the dynamic kind of shifted. It allowed us to be a little more in control. And we actually built a waiting list of talent. And we did the same thing with Wise Coatings, but with AI, now you can build this to where AI agents can go out and keep these ads posted 365 days a year and can message candidates, conduct screenings, do behavioral assessments, put them on a waiting list. And that's in essence what we kind of built out.
Okay.
And that's when we turned it into an actual platform that other contractors could use too.
Okay. So here's what I think I just heard you say, where you don't actually talk to the candidate until they've been put through. Well, first of all, the ads have been placed, the people have been recruited in, they've been screened, they've been talked to by AI agents, and then somebody falls out of the end of that funnel that is very likely a qualified person. And not only that, I think you said you put them on a waiting list. So not only do they fall out, they fall into a waiting bucket. But the idea, if I'm hearing you right, is you're not talking to anybody until you're pretty darn sure you got a great candidate.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. So if we open up a pipeline for whether it's an installer, a salesperson, office manager, production manager, there may be 100, 200, 500, 1,000 candidates that apply for that job, but who's actually reading the resumes? Who's calling them and asking them questions? Who's making sure they fill out the application step, they upload their resume, they do each of these individual components. Mostly hiring managers or people on the team or the owner themselves. Most people don't do all of those steps because it's too time consuming. So our process allows that to be automated, including writing the job ads, split testing them, see which one performs better, some marketing first principles, messaging, emailing, following up, nurturing them along the step to where we score candidates on a scale of 1 to 10 at the near final stage of the process. That is a interview with either the business owner or a production manager or hiring manager, someone on the team, someone on the business's team that actually vets them. And what it does is it prioritizes the top 3% of talent instead of having to go through all of that work yourself. It leverages technology to do that for you. So the process starts with, hey, I want to hire a specific type of role, any role inside of a home service business, remodeling, contracting business. And then we do the rest. And then we just integrate with your calendar and pop the top 3% onto your calendar for final interviews.
It almost sounds too good to be true.
AI's come a long way. And
So, I want to know more about the process, but let's cut to the chase on how much it costs because I'm just wondering how much does this cost? So, how do you charge on your platform?
we
Sorry to get so quickly to the, hey, how much does it cost? But like, I want to work through some of the details, but my mind has very quickly connected all those dots and went, I'm in. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
I don't even need to hear anything else. I'm good. Let's do this. How much does it cost?
So we have a few different pricing packages. Someone who maybe already has an existing applicant tracking software application and they want the AI behavioral analysis part of our program where they can plug in, we give them what's called a right seat assessment. It's a single question assessment that returns 21 behavioral profiles. Think of like disc score on steroids. Instead of just are they high DI, like this is what's their proactivity, endurance, dominance, aggression, criticality, all 21 different behavioral attributes. And that starts at like 149 bucks a month for unlimited assessments, being able to run people through the platform. And then from there, we have two options: a guaranteed hire program that kind of functions similar to a recruiting agency, where someone says, I want to hire a commission only salesperson that I am confident can come in and do a phenomenal job in my business. And we say, no problem. We'll do all that for you. We'll do the job ads. We'll do the postings. You'll get an entire year access to the platform included. So that, 200 bucks a month for the entire year included. And we spend all of the boosted ads, all this. You don't have to spend extra money on Indeed or LinkedIn. We do all the proactive outreach. And that's 1,500 bucks up front and then 1,500 bucks upon a successful hire. So that's like an example. We have different pricing packages for different types of roles, whether it's a laborer
Okay.
or CEO. And then the third,
So,
oh,
okay, sorry. So well, tell me the third because maybe it's going to answer my question.
the third package is the always recruiting option. That's where if you have a role where you need to hire at least 4 of a specific type of a person a year, whether that's a salesperson, like we have a roofing company, we're hiring 30 sales reps over the course of the next 6 months. We have, someone who's hiring, 60 laborers and technicians across 6 locations. Our plan start at about 800 bucks a month and they go up from there. And that includes us 365 days a year posting job ads, running them, managing them, doing all of the candidate screening. That's kind of that always be hiring option where you have a waiting list and a pool of talent that you
Okay.
can turn on and turn off at any point you want.
So is there an option where I can be a little more DIY? In other words, guaranteed, what do you call it? Guaranteed hire
Guaranteed hire.
program.
Yep.
You're spending the money on the hiring platforms. Is there one where I spend the money on Indeed, or is there not one like that?
Yeah, there is. Yep. Yeah, that's that first package. It starts at 149 bucks a month. So
Okay,
that
gotcha.
the DIY package that you want.
Got
So
it.
it just depends
Okay.
on what level of, either DIY or we do it for you.
Okay,
And
that makes sense. That I heard you talking about the right seat assessment, et cetera. I didn't catch that was DIY. Okay, so you got a lot of flexibility in this, depending on how much help and assistance that you want from you guys. But it sounds like for the majority of the people that are listening to this call, like there's gonna be a lot of people that do have this sort of evergreen, always recruiting situation where it's like, okay, just let it run. It's $800 a month or more. I heard you say it could be more. So
yeah,
uh, keep that in mind. But then, hey, I need a specific person. So if I come to you and go, hey, I need a CFO or I need a sales manager or I need a production manager, something that I'm only going to be hiring hopefully once per 5 years or whatever. That's going
yeah,
to be more this guaranteed hire program. Is that right?
yep, you got it. Yep.
Is there any position that this doesn't work for, or is this for any position?
This is for any position. We've hired three CEOs.
Telemarketers, whatever.
Yeah, but we had door-to-door sales reps, CSRs, outbound SDRs, inbound SDRs, rehash specialists, project managers, office managers, salespeople, sales managers, ditch digger. I mean, literally any
Okay.
position.
Is it limited, just for my curiosity, is it limited just to these industries, or do you do this for any kind of company?
We specialize in home services. That's obviously where we got our grassroots from. So we're specialists in construction, remodeling, the trades, home services, cleaning, roofing, siding, et cetera, painting. But we have done full hiring funnels for, companies like, San Diego Zoo and Monterey Bay Aquarium and, large companies that have, Sunbelt Rentals, companies that are hiring positions in warehouse managers
What
or
about, say,
line
marketing
cooks.
agencies?
Yes, line. Yes. Yeah. Project manager, marketing. Yeah. All the different types of roles. Because here's the cool part about AI is that AI works really, really well the more detailed of context you provide to the models of exactly what your business is like. So a lot of our work that we've built in creating this platform is saying, here's all the different variables about the company, what services they offer, what positions they are, what the written job description is, their core values, what makes them different. We scan the website, we pull out all the relevant information, and we write the job ads very, very custom tailored, bespoke to attract in the ideal person for that role. And the model knows all of those different variables because we load it in. Behavioral profiles are benchmarked specifically because of that. We look at, what behaviors, experience, and skills will best align with that position. Then it just becomes a marketing problem to solve, to go out and get eyeballs on the ads. And at the end of the day, that's all that recruiting is. It's marketing. And the reason why a lot of business owners really struggle with finding really good talent is either they don't realize it's a marketing problem to solve, or maybe they just suck at marketing and they lack those skill sets. They don't have a budget for it. I'll ask people like, what's your recruiting budget? Like, I don't have one. I'm like, you're just as equally dependent upon employees as you are your customers. Like your business doesn't exist without both of those at a proper ratio. But a lot of people just, it's an afterthought,
Yeah.
to get that. So it's the difference between proactive and reactive.
Yeah, I would say most people don't look at it recruiting as marketing. It's like it's its own little category called recruiting. Hey, I need somebody. You place the ad, you wait, you sift the sand and you find somebody, hopefully.
Here's the big thing that I like to ask people the question. What's a tougher sell? Going and convincing a homeowner to get a new roof, to remodel their bathroom, their kitchen, or convincing another human being to spend more waking hours with you in your business, working with you, the team that you put together, helping you fulfill your dreams and goals, spending more time with you than they even spend at home with their own families, and do that for years. Like that is a tough freaking sell. And it requires unbelievably strong marketing hooks to get them engaged. They have to read the job ads, and most job ads don't read well. It's like must be able to lift 50 pounds, must have clean driving record, must have like it's these requirements that read like an HR job description. It doesn't sell the position at all. It doesn't talk about what's in it for them. So we've studied hundreds of thousands of different job ads and what the peak performances are. These are all loaded into our platform. So we know exactly what causes people to convert. And it's really talking about what's in it for them first. and who they are as a person. Before you even talk about who you are and what you need, you want to talk about what's in it for them. And
So give me an idea what an ad like that might read like. I know that there's different ones for different positions, but give me a for instance.
well, I can pull one up and I can actually show you what we do for Wise Coatings, if that would be helpful for
That would be
you to
very
be able to
helpful.
see. I'll pull that up, but I'll give you kind of like a quick story on what we did for All Clean when we were trying to do this. We tested different job ad headlines. You know, people can apply to about 50 different job ads in 30 minutes on Indeed.
Okay.
Shotgun approach. When they're reading through lines and clicking on and applying, how far are they actually reading down the whole thing? And not very far. So we tested window cleaning technician, window cleaner, general laborer, wanted, gas powered squirt gun operators. Now, you as a marketer, which one do you think got more eyeballs and more attention?
I don't think you got to be a marketer to get the right answer to that question.
But I mean, the reality is that most people they don't think about it from a marketing perspective. And Indeed certainly wants you to, in these different job boards, you know, accuracy of communication and this and that. And it's just, you know, you've done it right when the candidates that you're talking to are generally saying, you know, I've never read an ad like yours before. Like I read the ad and it spoke to me. You know, it sounded like the exact kind of company that I was wanted to work for.
Well, so yes, I agree with that 1,000,000%. And also, I think there's a psychological principle here, which is when a guy sees gas-powered squirt gun operator, I'm assuming that's for power washer.
Yeah.
When he sees that ad, and then I'm gonna go on the assumption that the rest of the ad is equally well written, descriptive, speaks to their situation, etc. That they say to themselves, "Holy crap, I would love to work for a place that thinks like this." Because nobody thinks like this. Like clearly this is a place that is different and thinks different and is different. Now, here's the funny thing about that. The funny thing about that is the company that places that ad, which is not you, it's technically your client, right? They're the
Mhm.
same old company that they were when they wanted, a general laborer.
Yep.
But so now we get into confirmation bias, right?
Right.
And this is an important marketing concept. Confirmation bias says we look for evidence to support what we already believe and we ignore or minimize evidence that goes against what we believe. So if we see this ad and we go, wow, it's speaking to me, number one, that's awesome. Number two, it's unique, it's different, it's outside of the box. That's the kind of company that I'd be interested to work for. Then they come in, they fall out of the funnel per what we just talked about. They come to you as the business owner. I don't mean you, Brandon, I mean whoever your client is, and now they're looking for evidence to support that this is the kind of company I want to work for. And they're
That's right.
selling themselves into you.
That's right. Yeah, there's evidence that when people come in within the first 48 hours of your company, there's an 80% likelihood that they already know if they'll be there for the next 2 weeks. So if people have these, you have to actually deliver it on what it is that you sell. So, you have a crappy
Shocker.
shop, you have a crappy shop that's got flickering dim lights, you have peeling paint, and you got vehicles that are as organized as a dumpster. And they look like the white rapist vans that are driving around that you warn kids about, not getting anywhere near. Yeah, someone's going to show up and say, career opportunity, room to grow. Not really. So it's the same thing when you market for your
Yeah.
customers. You tell them
Yeah.
you offer an amazing service and you're professional and you do all these things. And then you go out there and they see you as a salesperson and it doesn't match. Well, your
Yeah.
closing rates are going to be bad. So branding and culture and all of that stuff is just as equally as
But as
important as
long as there's a reasonably good match of what you're promising versus what you actually are,
right.
just communicating it different. I mean, this is the exact same message that I teach people in marketing. It's like people this confirmation bias thing is so important because people are going to lean into the positive attributes that you've sold them on and they're going to look for it. And I always tell this story about uh, early in my career. This is mid 90s. Lawn Smith Roofing we put together something called the Code of Ethics and Competency Contractor Standards Guide for Roofers. Okay. And it was like 20 different things that you needed to check off, to make sure your roofer was, not
Yeah,
a criminal.
it's awesome.
And so we put this out there. It was VHS. We put it on a VHS tape. That's how long ago this was. But here's the cool thing. Lots of cool things, but one specific cool thing. Their customer complaints, which they measured very, very religiously, dropped by 88% after they integrated this Code of Ethics and Competency program system-wide into their company. They were already very good. They didn't commit a lot of mistakes, but the complaints went down by 88% because now when they looked out their window and they saw the guy taking a leak behind the tree, they were, instead of calling and being like, your guy's pissing behind our tree, they would go, well, they don't do that. So this must be an anomaly. It's no big deal, I guess.
Interesting.
Like it literally changes people's perception and therefore their behavior.
Yeah.
And you're doing that with this system. So you got a couple things I like here. If you were not AI powered, okay, HireBus was not AI powered. It was a traditional recruiting agency. And all you had for me on this podcast today was, hey, Rich, we write ads that are awesome, like gas powered squirt gun operators. I'd be like, I'm totally in. Now we're going to overlay that on the AI so that it's quick and easy and all those things. I think you cracked the code here.
The important thing about AI is that it's only good AI if literally you can't tell that it's done by AI. It has to
Okay.
be human powered, and good AI is so hyper powered with real context. It's like having, if you were to, the biggest piece of advice I give to anyone using AI, anyone listening, imagine that you paid a consultant $10,000 an hour to get on a coaching call with this person. And you have a call scheduled with this person this Friday. And the person tells you, hey, before you show up to that call, we're only going to be together for 30 minutes. Before you show up to that call, you have an unlimited sized email that you can send to me in advance about everything I should know about you, your company, your hopes, your desires, your dreams, exactly all your metrics, your KPIs, literally anything you want. I'll read the whole thing and I'll study it and I'll custom tailor our 30-minute coaching call to be specifically, what would you write in that email? You
Everything.
probably wouldn't write, I'm a residential contractor that does roofing services. Please help me. Like, no, you'd be like copying and pasting slide decks and you'd be putting in your meeting notes that you had on the last week's call, like unlimited. This is what AI is. And prompt engineering is 100 times more important where you're loading context in. So I'll give you an example of our job ads. You asked about that. Would you like me to show what our job ads look like for Wise
Yep.
Coatings?
I would like to see that.
So I'll share my screen here. So for those who are listening, you'll have to go watch this on video, but I'll describe what I'm showing. So this is our core values. It spells the word base for Wise Coatings. Core value number 1 is Buffalo. We charge a storm. We run towards problems, even when they're hard to face. This is one of our core values. We're not cows. We don't run away from the storm. Buffaloes in the plains of Utah, they literally charge the storm. Next core value is ascend. We strive every day to level up in life. We want people to do that professionally, personally. We talk all the time about leveling up. Serve. We want people that don't view serve to be an ugly word. They have a heart to serve. We're in the service business. Efficiency. Optimize every movement we make to reduce stress, fatigue, and mistakes. We're working with products that cure in 15 minutes. You got to prep the job right. You got to be efficient. The reason why I'm showing these core values is for our job ad. This is the kind of context that we load into our team, our engine, when we're writing job ads that attract the right kind of person. You don't want someone that doesn't value these if these are your true core values. So when we write our job ads, we start off many of them, who you are. You're always working to level up in your life, both personally and professionally. You love running towards problems and enjoy being recognized as a high performer. You thrive in a fast-paced environment. You love serving others and helping them succeed because you know that will bring you success. You want to work with like-minded team members and have fun at work. You're looking for a company that has paths to growth. You want to experience the upside of the value you bring. Who we are. Now we talk about us. We're who you've been looking for. Wise Coatings, the floor coatings company. Entrepreneur Magazine is awarded top 100 emerging franchise brands in the United States. One of the fastest growing floor companies. We're just getting started. A strong business model. What's in it for them? Every day will be different. And then this one here, check out what your fellow coworkers say about working at Wise Coatings. So there's a video which I'm not going to show all the way through here, but you can go onto YouTube and you can watch working at Wise Coatings. One of the, again, back to marketing, one of the things that we did was we got together with our employees and we brought them into our shop and we interviewed them. What do you love about working here? What do you hate about your last job? What's the worst job you've ever worked for? What was that like? And we got all this gold in the form of video content that we stitched together a recruiting video. We started out with all the things that are awful about their previous job. And man, what's different about working at Wise Coatings? Like you got to sell them what the vision is. And when people watch that, they're like, that's people I want to work for. That's people I want to work with. So that's the marketing angle on
Okay.
what attracts people in.
So we've talked about kind of what the program is, how it works, how much it costs. So now let's flip this over. You've already started you've walked, a quarter of the way down the path. I want to go the other 3 quarters. What does this look like from the recruit's standpoint? So I just saw the ad. It was interesting. It was unique. It was different. I watched the video. What happens next? Tell me what it looks like from my perspective as a potential candidate interacting with AI and based on what you just said, not really feeling like I'm interacting with AI. I hope.
So yeah. Well, I mean, we don't hide it. We embrace it, but I'll tell you how we message it. So the first of all, instant speed to lead. So when you fill out an application, like you're getting a text immediately. It's like, hey, Rich, looks like you could be a great fit. We just checked out your whatever step you actually came in and took. Maybe there's one more step you need to take before we can process it.
And
So
how do you communicate that? Is it a text message? Is
text
it
and
an email?
email,
Okay,
both.
so both.
Yep. And then if we don't hear, we keep messaging, we follow up, we follow up, we follow up, we follow up. So we want as many people as possible in the top of funnel. And what we do is we just nurture, follow up, check. No one gets missed in our funnel. Everyone gets touched until they either say, leave me alone, I'm not interested anymore, or they take the next step and progress their way through to where we can give them a decision point. So our job is to tell them as fast as possible what the next step is. And most candidates, when you go and you research what they hate, getting ghosted by employers, not knowing what the next step is. They never called me back. They said they were going to. So from a candidate perspective, it's actually better because they hear immediately, hey, looks like you could be a great fit. Could you please click this link and fill out our standard application form? Boom, they click that. That goes
Okay,
through.
so I'm going to pause you right there.
Yeah,
This is my perception. Full disclosure, I'm not heavily involved in hiring in my company. I've got other people that do that. But it seems like the biggest complaint always is I went onto the site, Indeed or whatever. I showed interest by clicking a button or I submitted a resume and then I never heard anything.
right.
And so now the solution for them, for the applicant is, okay, it's a numbers game, I guess. I got to go submit 100 applications to get 5 people to even acknowledge my existence to hopefully get 2 interviews with a human to hopefully get 1 job.
Right.
Okay, and what you're saying is you're gonna I was going to use the word overwhelm. I'm going to still use the word overwhelm. You're going to overwhelm them by immediately saying, "Hey, we see you, we hear you, we're communicating with you. You seem like a good applicant. Here's what our process is. Here's what the next steps are." Is that right?
That's right.
Okay,
Speed to lead,
keep going.
clarity of communication. So when they immediately get that message, they can immediately get into the next step and we guide them through, they upload their resume, they put that stuff into it. The cool part is as soon as they're done with that, our platform will read the resume, analyze it, take a look at their application answers, and then give them the option to take an instant interview as soon as they're done filling out their application.
Which is how long does that take, roughly speaking,
Fill out the application or the instant interview?
to fill out the application? Like a couple minutes, like 15
Couple minutes.
minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 or 3 minutes. Now I'm being asked for an instant interview.
Yep.
Okay, what does
They,
that look like?
they click a button and we tell them, that you're going to be basically, uh, in order for us to prioritize you as fast as possible and get you set up with a real interview with a real human, we'd like you to get your instant interview with Val. And Val is our AI interview coach. She's going to ask you some questions. to be able to prioritize you through and get you on the calendar with a real human interview, and like
Okay.
click to
So
begin.
pulling the curtain back, we're going to use an AI. We're going to
Mhm.
call it Val, so it's a little bit humanized.
Mhm. You know where
But
Val came from? Valerie Frizzle from the Magic School Bus. That's where we got Val from. Anyways, Easter egg.
so okay, so I'm the applicant again.
Yeah,
And so now you've communicated with me. You've said, "Hey, do you want to do an instant interview? It's going to be with a robot, quote unquote, an AI." So I might have a couple feelings about that,
you could say
but here's what my feeling is not. My
yeah.
feeling is not, "Oh, I submitted something and now I haven't heard anything and it's been 4 days." So at least I'm being heard. And if the AI part turns somebody off, well, then I guess they're just going to be turned off. We'll make it up in numbers on the hiring end because we're going to be doing this with ostensibly dozens or hundreds of candidates.
Yeah, and the way that we actually started HireBus with zero AI phone agents.
I
So
just caught that. Sorry, Brandon. I just caught it.
no, that's fine.
Hire
So
bus,
Magic
Val.
School Bus, you just
Got
gotta
it.
like
Okay. Sorry. Keep going. I'm a little slow.
you're like Miss Frizzle. Okay, great, Magic School. So when we started it, we had zero AI agents. We had human interview agent, and we still actually do to this day. We have a whole bunch of teams of recruiters that do real human interviews before they ever talk to the business owner. And the only time that we will fully turn that off is when we are 100% confident that the AI agent can beat a human interview. And here's the reality: humans have bias. So if I am a man or a woman interviewing a man or a woman, there's going to be a little bit of a bias that's going to be there. If there's an accent, there might be a little bit of a bias. If there's
Yeah.
certain,
All the things
oh,
that,
you live in my same city that I grew up in, I love you
yeah.
already.
Yeah.
It's hard to get around those, and it's really difficult to just like actually quantitate and qualify these individuals. So candidates don't love unfair advantages or maybe unfair privilege that certain individuals might have compared to them. So there is some upside of being able to do that a lot of people are recognizing, and the shift towards adoption of these processes is actually proving more favorable by the month. But what we're doing
Yeah.
is the reason why we did all these interviews with human is because now we have data. We know exactly how they interact, how they engage, what questions to ask, what kind of conversations. All that data is used to train our models, and we're
Okay.
comparing them.
So let's go back to Val. So
Yeah.
I say, yes, I would like an instant interview with Val. What does that look like? Is it done via video? How's it done?
It's done via audio. So you click a button, it's on your phone. So you're going through the
Okay.
process, it's on your phone. You click it, and it's like, hey, Rich, my name is Val. I'm here to, as your personalized interview coach. My job is to be able to get you an answer as soon as possible and what next steps will look like to schedule an interview with a real human. You can ask me questions. I want you to be as comfortable as possible on this call. We like to prioritize work-life balance with our human team members like you, which is why we use technology like this to be able to make the process as smooth as possible. Are you ready to get started?
Selling the technology. Got it. Keep going.
Yep. Ready to get started? Yep. Sounds good. And then it's questions. We have the resume context. We'll ask questions. All the questions are dynamically generated, just like a real human interviewer screener would do to press on thing. Hey, I've noticed that you have, 7 jobs in the last 2 years. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? Pressing on areas for red flags, pressing on areas that maybe look off. Maybe there's data that looks conflicting, a little more experience on here. And it basically presses on, what do I need to know to be able to find out if we should move this candidate to the next step or not? And at the end of it, it doesn't make a hard decision, pass or fail, but it instead tees the candidate up to say, hey, one of the last steps in our process is to take our behavioral assessment. It's called the right seat score, or the right seat assessment. This is not exactly what it says, but it's basically,
Okay.
this next step in the process. It takes about 5 minutes to complete. It's one single question. There's no right or wrong answers. I like to text you that link and have you take it. Are you good with that? And then yes. Okay. And then you get that link, and then that's our right seat survey that you go through. Takes about
This your
5 minutes.
disc profile on steroids?
Disc profile on steroids, 100%. Because let me ask you, what's the right disc score for a roofer?
Yeah, I don't know enough about the details of disc to answer that, but others would that are listening to this.
Even I mean, because I have a level 2 disc certification. Even disc doesn't have a good answer for that. Now, how should we communicate with those individuals? How do we guide those people? What are the best ways to talk to those individuals? DISC is really good for that, but it's not good for saying for certain positions, there is no ideal. Like, yeah, salespeople probably should be a DI or an ID, but there's also people that are high S that rock as salespeople because they're high support and
Okay.
they're good with people.
So I'm
So
going to take your assessment.
yep,
Where did this assessment come from? Did you develop it yourself? Did you borrow it from somewhere else?
I did a bunch of research several years ago. I met a gentleman by the name of Rick Braden. He's a clinical industrial psychologist, behavioral psychologist for the last 25 years, and utilized this assessment process that stems all the way back from kind of like the 80s.
Okay, so you've adopted his assessment.
Yeah,
Okay.
millions of data points from employees over the years that we loaded into the models that have refined it. And then now, every time a new model gets released, our entire platform gets smarter and gets more
By the
effective.
way, sorry to backtrack just a second. How long does the audio interview with Val take typically?
10 minutes.
Okay, so 10 minutes, and then you're going to say, hey, would you take this assessment? If they take that, now it's another 5 minutes.
Mhm.
So I'm maybe 15 or 20 minutes into this, and I've gone through your whole process basically.
Yes.
So then
At,
what happens? Does it
at,
generate a
at that
score?
point, at that point, we have, hundreds of different things to kind of take a look at to see, would this be a good fit? How, what's the potential that this individual has to be a really, really good fit for this position? And depending on whatever the criteria is that we set with the business owner on hard requirements, maybe you're hiring someone that they have to have technical experience, they have to have a certification. If they don't have that certification, we don't talk to them after that. Like, when we find out you guys don't have it, and we let them know, hey, you don't meet the minimum required qualifications for this. We take care of the exit side of it as well to let them know that it's not going to be a good fit, so
You
that
don't just never call them back.
we don't just never call them. That's not a good practice. Is the reason why they shotgun approach. So very quickly they can move on in their search. And then the people that are actually a good fit, that's where we bring in the human component of it to do the validation and verification side of it.
Now I'm
And
looking at your
then,
website just on the
yeah,
homepage, and it shows four people, 10, 10, 9, 4. So when does that come into play? When is the system creating that scoring process?
that's scoring that at the after they finish the behavioral assessment, and we have all the other individual components on the back end
And
loaded
then,
after the behavioral assessment. That's where that score comes in.
so how do I, as an employer, interact with this system? Do I have a dashboard, or do I get a notification on my phone? Hey, you've got a new qualified applicant. Dave scored 9 or something like that.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly right.
All of the
So
above.
all of those,
Dashboard.
yep, all of those come in. We have the full login platform where you can log in. So it looks a lot like this. If it's okay, I share my screen.
Yep, go for it.
So we have the hiring pipeline, all the different stages when they come in, application, when their assessment's been done, phone interview, attend interview, schedule in-person interview. We have all these individuals that are here. So with this technician, you're able to see specifically their benchmark on how they fit, what their different behavioral profiles are. This is kind of the ideal range that you see. And then this blue line is where they belong. And you can see they fall outside of the range for dominance, aggression, self-confidence.
This is a
And
friendly person here.
this is Elizabeth. So we have proactivity, endurance, order. Like, these are the full 21 different ones, low aggression, calm and influence on others. We have coaching reports. So you can use this with your existing employees and use them to coach them into being better production managers or technicians, et cetera. We have the resume that will automatically extract out their strengths, their areas for improvement, what skills they have, what their experience level is. And even if you want to know what questions should I ask them on the interview, we generate all the interview questions that you can ask this person to
And
further
it's
drill down on it.
at the top of your screen right now. Is that where it says 7? Is that the like
It's a right
quick
seat score.
quick glance score? This person's a 7.
That's the right seat score. Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And then all the
Is it
messages that have been done with the candidate, you can see all of this that's here, the responses that they've had, all of it's just in one location.
very impressive? Very, very impressive. I love it.
It's been It's been game changing for a lot of businesses, including my own. Like we have 280 technicians on a waiting list for Wise Coatings. And the best part about it is a lot of business owners, including myself back in the day, I have someone, let's just call him Johnny on the team, who's showing up late, not wearing the uniforms. And I'm like, but if I fire Johnny, like I got to go out and I got to find someone, I got to train him. Like he's a good tech, he does a good job here, but he's kind of cancerous and
Meanwhile,
I got
you've
to
got a
put him in his
280
crap.
person bullpen.
Yes. So it's like, hey, throw some interviews on my calendar and let me talk and see who's out there because you should and can let people go to pursue other opportunities in their life. You know, the greatest gift of an entrepreneur is you get to pick exactly who your coworkers are. That's pretty freaking cool.
So,
Why do we pick the crappy ones?
well, it's perceived lack of options, I guess.
That's right.
So let's say
Bad
that
marketing.
you put somebody into your bullpen. What did you call it? Your waiting
Waiting
list, I
list.
think.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming then they get contacted by your system that says, "Hey, you're a great fit. We'd love to hire you. We don't have a position right now, but we anticipate we will within X time frame. Would you like us to contact you or something like that?" And then I
It's
assume
almost
it pings,
identical. Yeah,
and
exactly.
then it just pings them what every couple days. Hey, you're still on the waiting list. We're still, nothing's come up, and it just keeps them informed. I'm assuming because that seems like what would be the cool thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It continually just lets them know that's on deck, and they'll go and they'll find another job. It's going to happen. They won't wait
So then they
forever.
can opt out, right?
They can opt out if they want, but the great part is that we've had people that we've rewarmed back up on our marketing list a year later that interviewed and applied and we thought would be killer, but they found another job. They didn't love that job. And then when we heard they're like, man, that's a company I actually wanted to work for you guys because of this. And, it's just a remarketable list and all the
Yeah.
marketing principles apply.
So if you create a bullpen, and if those guys fall out of the bullpen when you have a need to fill, you can just go back to your guys who fell off and go, "Hey, is anybody interested still?"
That's right. Yeah. We had an opening pop up. It's first come, first serve. Click here to schedule your interview. Takes directly to the calendar of the hiring manager. They can just click on it.
So,
Really,
okay, so
really
how many
seamless.
technicians across Wise Coatings?
On a
Two,
waiting list,
no, no. How many actual technician jobs are there right now?
employee wise, I think we have like close to 100.
Okay, so let's use that number as 100. How often do you not have somebody instantly ready to step into a position? Does it still, do you still have gaps or is it pretty much always instantaneously now?
No, it's not always instantaneously. I mean, because it varies on market. If I have someone in the waiting list that's in a certain market and there's not an opening there, will they move over to a different market to start? Possibly, but not likely.
Okay,
Not
so let me
not
ask the question differently. Let's forget about the waiting list for a minute. I like the waiting list. It's a cool thing, but let's put it aside. Let's say that I'm hiring for salespeople. I've got a large organization. I've got 30 salespeople. So I've got this revolving door. I'm interested in your always recruiting program. Okay.
Yep.
If I have a need right now for two salespeople and I don't have anybody waiting in the waiting list or in the bullpen, how long does it take this system in a reasonably sized city? I mean, if it's Coffeyville, Kansas, it might take longer, but you're just in a reasonable sized city, Kansas City or something. How long does it take to find that guy through this system?
Usually it's 2 to 4 weeks if someone's never worked with us before, because we have to sit down. We got to go
Okay,
through
great. Let's say they
the
have worked with
onboarding
you before. They've
process.
gone through the onboarding, everything's been optimized. This is
Yeah.
now 3 years later,
Yeah.
and
one
now
to
I
two
need two
weeks.
sales guys.
Yeah. 1 to 2 weeks.
And it's just gonna crank guys out of the end of
It's
that
just,
funnel.
yeah, it's just turn it on. Yeah. But the best practice is though, is to always be recruiting because anytime you go and just try to capture someone out of 52 weeks cycle, a 1 to 2 week slice because you're gun to the
Yep.
head, need to
Yep.
hire someone now, it's going to inherently just limit your
Limiting your pool of candidates who are looking.
right. So when you build those people and you pay to get them from different platforms, keep them on your platform so you can keep marketing to them and warming them back up again.
And can I
A lot of people
assume
don't do that.
that I'm assuming that a part of your program is to help people automatically keep their people warm that they might want to hire later.
That's right. Yep. You got your talent pool. You got your
Okay.
bench.
I already asked you how much it costs. I don't remember how much you said. Actually, I wrote it down. Guaranteed 15, then 1500. The right seat assessment 149 and up. Always recruiting 800 and up. I mean, uh, raise your prices, first of all, because this is ridiculous. And number two, look, I'm going to give you a stamp of approval that I only give, I don't know, maybe 10% of the time, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. I haven't really counted, but here's the stamp of approval. It's the if you don't do this, you're stupid stamp of approval. And look, if another company that we're partners with doesn't get that stamp of approval, it's not necessarily a knock on their service. It's just like, hey, this may or may not be the right fit for everybody. Not everything's the right fit, but I don't know any. I can't think of any company in this industry that wouldn't benefit from this. Like, so here it is. It's the if you don't do this, you're stupid stamp of approval.
I
You
appreciate that,
got it.
Rich. It means a lot, man, because I know you talk to a lot of really, really, really smart business owners and
A
you help
lot
a
of
lot
cool
of people
stuff.
too. So it means a lot. I appreciate that.
Okay, if people want to find out more, hirebus.com/level 10, correct?
Yes, sir.
Level 10 with a 10, level 10, right?
Yeah, and we have special offers for your audience and your listeners and anyone else that wants to come in. They'll
Yeah,
get white glove service, and we also got
great.
the
Give them
essential
give them the
deal.
special offer. I'm just going to tell this to my audience. I don't
Well,
care
now
what
I'm
the
giving them
special
the
offer
raise the
is.
price special offer because I just told when they come on, I'll say, "Hey, Rich just said raise our prices, so you actually get the higher price now."
If
Just
you're
kidding.
only going to go to hirebus.com/level 10 because there's some special offer, you missed the entire point of this conversation. So whatever special offer is there, consider it a bonus. It's awesome. You know, companies do this. They want to give you a little perk to come in and take action. So take advantage of that, whatever it is. But who cares what it is? Because even without it, this is an amazing thing. So,
Appreciate it.
Brandon, thanks for joining me today. I will definitely have you back on the podcast in the future. And who knows, maybe doing some other stuff. I love what you're doing. This is really cool.
Would love it. Thanks for having me, Rich. I appreciate the time.
My pleasure.